everyone. This is going to be a short ecumenical update. Pope Francis is apparently heading east in order to further his ecumenical movement and his ecumenical agenda. I have a couple news sources here that I want to show you that recently came out. One is called religionnews.com. Pope Francis heading east on Caucasus peacemaking mission. And again, this is from religionnews.com. And apparently he's heading to the country of Georgia, and I believe there's a couple other nations that he's visiting there to visit with the Orthodox Church there. It says here, from Vatican City, peace and reconciliation will be the focus of Pope Francis' first official visit to the nations of Georgia and Azerbaijan later this week. Building interreligious dialogue has been one of the Pope's top priorities since his election 3 years ago, and he has a close relationship with Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I of Constantinople. Observers say the September 30th to October 2nd trip will be significant. It is a trip of ecumenical importance for relations with the Orthodox Church in Georgia and has interreligious value for peace because of the Pope's meetings with other religions. Get that? With other religions, said Andrea Torinelli, respected Vatican journalist for the Italian daily La Stampa. The Caucasus region has been and still is afflicted, but the Pope's latest trip has already provoked fierce opposition from some Georgian Orthodox hardliners. Now, the Orthodox Church has been at odds with the Vatican for over 1,000 years because of doctrinal differences. And what this is all about is the Pope, according to this article, is visiting these countries and the Orthodox Patriarchs to see who will have supremacy. Who will the Pope finally be recognized? Will his authority be recognized by the Orthodox churches in these countries? But there are some protesters here in the Orthodox Church standing up against him, vowing to block the Pope from coming into one of their churches and speaking. It says more than 80% of Georgia's 3.7 million residents are Orthodox, and Francis is hoping to build closer relations with religious leaders. It says here, the Pope's visit begins Friday, September 30th in the Georgian capital, Tbilisi, where he will meet with the President Georgi Margvelashvili and hold separate meetings with the leader of the Orthodox Church in Georgia, Patriarch Ilya II, and the Assyrian Chaldean community. Let me see here. It says, on Saturday, in an unusual move, an Orthodox delegation will take part in a mass Francis will celebrate at the Mikhail Mekshi Stadium in Tbilisi. And I have another article I want to read you here. This is from Christianity Today. It says, could Orthodox churches recognize the Pope? It's no longer completely unthinkable. So I want to show you that. That's from Christianity Today. Apparently, what's happening here after a 1,000-year breach between the Vatican and the Orthodox churches is that Francis wants to be recognized. He's trying to bring everyone together to recognize his authority as the vicar of Christ. He wants himself to be the authority over this one world church and one world religion. And this is why this ecumenical movement he's pressing so hard for. It's not about bringing the world the gospel and trying to lead people to the person of Christ. It's all about his ambitions to sit on that throne and be like the Most High. He wants the honor and the worship according even to the book of Daniel and Revelation. This is what he's after. So this ecumenical movement doesn't have Christ as the motive. It has himself. It has Pope Francis or the papal dynasty itself as its own interest in having supremacy or primacy over what they call the world church, or what they want to have as a world religion. Is the 1,000-year-old breach between the Catholic and Orthodox churches a little closer to being mended? It says here, given the history of suspicion, hostility, and political game playing and theological intransigence that has marked the process so far, it seems unlikely. But after a significant meeting between theologians from the two sides, there are signs that change is in the wind. The 14th plenary session of the Joint Commission for Theological Dialogue between the Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church met in Chieti, Italy, and has just completed its work. So Pope Francis is heading to Georgia, the country of Georgia, and he also just met with people in Italy. over this, the Orthodox Church as well. So he's working hard to bring the Orthodox back into his, what they call fold, the mother church, so that he can be recognized as having supremacy. And this is what they're after here. They want synodality and primacy. And this is what they're after. The Vatican, like I said, is not, their motive is not to lift up Christ as the Prince of Peace. It's to lift themselves up as the authority and the primacy. And they're drawing everyone back, or trying to draw everyone back to the mother church. And this is why he's been after all these different religions, Muslims and Jews. He's been after evangelical Protestants and Pentecostals, and having them visit the Vatican. And he's trying to win everyone over. And this is what the scripture says when it says that the church has harlot daughters. Even these Protestant churches who stood their ground on the scriptures alone are now compromising the truth of God to make peace with the papal line in Rome. These are these harlot daughters coming back to the mother church. And so he's trying to do this with the Orthodox churches as well. So if you're interested in reading these articles on the Pope's visit to Italy recently with Orthodox churches, and also to the country of Georgia, I find that interesting. I came across a question here, and of course I know the answer to this, but I wanted to read it to you, I think, in a more concise way that I thought would speak directly to this question. What did Jesus mean by he came not to bring peace but a sword? Well, we know from previous videos that my opinion is that Jesus is that Prince of Peace, and peace will only happen in this world when he comes back. The government will be on the Lord's shoulders when he returns, and he is the Prince of Peace, not the Pope of Rome. This is why as soon as they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them. This ecumenical movement of the Pope, and I can't stress it enough, is to bring about a world religion where he is honored as the peacemaker of the world. This is why Satan is trying to take God's rightful place by saying, I will be like the Most High. Francis and the Vatican, especially Vatican II, is compromising the gospel, is bringing you another gospel, is compromising the truth of Christ to bring all religious faiths together as one, as saying we all worship the same God. So when Jesus said in Matthew 10:34, and he said it again in Luke, that he does not come to bring peace but a sword, he knew that when the gospel came out, that when his doctrine, which is the doctrine of Christ, was revealed to the world, it would cause division amongst people. They'd have to take a stand. Is it all faiths lead to the same place or the same God, or is it what Christ said alone about himself? That he alone is the way, the truth, and the life. How do you compromise? How does a born-again Christian compromise that truth with a Muslim or with the Catholic Church? How do you compromise that truth? Jesus is either the only way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes into God except through him, like he said, or you can align yourself with this ecumenical movement of the Pope of Rome, stating that we all worship the same God and it doesn't matter what faith you hold to. So what do you stand on? I stand on the scriptures alone and what Jesus said about himself alone. So the answer to this article goes on to say, and this is from gotquestions.org, and it seems some people are saying that it sounded harsh when Jesus said these things. No, it's not. He's speaking truth, and when he speaks the truth, it causes division. So in Matthew 10:34-36 describes Jesus telling his disciples that he came not to bring peace to the world, but a sword. Jesus, let me see. Why then did Jesus say, do not suppose that I've come to bring peace on the earth? Among the names of Jesus Christ is that of Prince of Peace. Isn't that what I was just saying? That's his title, not the papal line in Rome. Such verses as Isaiah 9:6, which I love to quote from, stating the deity of Christ, Luke 2:14 and John 14:27 make it clear that Jesus came to bring peace. But that peace is between the individual themselves and God. Those who reject God and the only way of salvation through Jesus Christ, John 14:6, will find themselves perpetually at war with God. That says it all right there. So why did Jesus come to say that when I come and my doctrine is preached around the world, it will cause a sword of division? It's because he proclaimed that he is the only way to God. And the world does not want to hear that. The world wants the Pope's message. They want to hear that they're fine, that their message is completely fine, and that all paths lead to God. You're good. What did Jesus come preaching? I am the way, the truth, and the life. And if they Those who reject God and the only way of salvation through Jesus will find themselves perpetually at war with God. The only way to have a restored relationship with God is through Jesus Christ himself. And what the Pope is telling you is that all faiths, all ways lead to the same God. This is not what Christ came preaching. So I wanted to update you on the ecumenical movement of Pope Francis, that he was recently in Italy, and he's also going to visit a couple of countries, Georgia being one, and the other one is in the other article here. But he's trying to bring about the pairing up again, or the bringing back to the Mother Church of the Orthodox Patriarchs and the Orthodox Church as a whole to the Mother Vatican in Rome. So who do you stand with? Do you stand with the papal line in the Vatican, lying to the world and kissing them with lies, or are you willing to hurt someone with the truth and say, this may not be what you want to hear, but Jesus said there is no other way to God except through him, that he alone is the Prince of Peace, and peace in this world will only come when Jesus returns. No man on this earth, no matter what position, title, or degrees he holds, can bring the peace on this earth that Christ is coming to bring. That is his title alone. So anyway, this is just a ecumenical update. So if you want to follow Francis's travels, and keep yourself informed on what's going on, please do. The hour's late, guys, and the Lord's coming soon. Keep your eyes open and cling only to Christ.